Around 335 million years ago, the supercontinent of Pangea started to form, and during this time the world was a very different place. It was a planet where giant invertebrates dominated the land, and swampy forests were the dominant ecosystems. Pangea would exist for around 135 million years, until it started to break apart at the end of the Triassic and the start of the Jurassic. Even though this iconic supercontinent is long gone, in today's video I'll be trying to imagine what the world would look like if it still existed. I'll be trying to predict what would happen if all the continents were to magically reform and merge today, and which predators would come out on top if they had to battle animals from other continents. I'll be trying to base this on relevant data that we have today, but obviously this video is just a bit of fun, and I'd love to hear your feedback and ideas in the comments below. Without further ado, we can take a look at our first predator, and to find it we can head to quite a few different places in the northern hemisphere. The brown bear is the most widespread bear species in the world, being found over large parts of the northern hemisphere. Over their expansive range, their size, diet, and appearance varies greatly, and they've proven to be quite capable of adapting to different ecosystems. In places such as Alaska, they are apex predators and feed on a variety of fish, large mammals, and plant matter, but they even exist in more harsh and unforgiving habitats such as the Gobi Desert, where the majority of their diet consists of plant matter, with only small mammals occasionally supplementing this. They are often found in the most competitive ecosystems in the world with other top predators, but even these animals know it's a good idea to keep your distance, as only a handful of predators in the world can topple this giant. In many ways, their main enemy is man, because if we didn't reduce their numbers through hunting, they would be a lot more dominant today. If all the continents were to merge into a new Pangea, the brown bear would thrive, and you could even argue that they would expand their range. As I've covered, they already dominate large portions of the northern hemisphere, and in a combined supercontinent they could move south into warmer ecosystems. They would eventually run into problems if they moved into tiger country, as there's evidence to suggest that Siberian tigers hunt brown bears. Despite this, they still inhabit the same ecosystems today, so this might not be as big a problem as it first may seem. In the northern areas, they'd run into competition in the form of the polar bear, but these two species do sometimes coexist and interbreed today in a few areas around the world. They have the ability to hunt most large herbivores on this planet, but of course they'd struggle with some of the larger plant-eating animals of Africa and Asia. It's possible that they'd also struggle with some of the predators in these regions, with hyenas and lions possibly causing problems. Across their native range, brown bears rarely struggle with other individual predators, but when these animals team up, they can cause problems. Packs of wolves will often challenge bears for food and sometimes will even try to steal their cubs. And as lions and spotted hyenas live in large social groups, this could be a problem for the bears. They've proven to be able to adapt to a variety of forest, grassland, and even desert habitats, but there's no evidence to suggest that they'd be able to adapt to tropical wetland or rainforest habitats. For this reason, and because of competition from other predators outside its native ecosystem, I don't believe that they're capable of world domination. But in colder habitats, I believe the brown bear will be one of the top predators, and for that reason, it has a place on this list. The green anacondas of South America are the heaviest and second longest snakes in the world, and until recently there was only considered to be one species. Depending on who you ask, this is still the case, but some now recognise two different species, the northern green anaconda and the green anaconda. In this video, I'll be including both species as they are very similar, and I think they'd both be very successful. The public perception of these snakes is very different to reality, and we might have popular media to blame for this. They're often depicted in films and media as bloodthirsty man-eaters, but there's never been a confirmed report of a green anaconda attacking and consuming a human. One man even tried his hardest to get an anaconda to consume him for a TV show, and even though he doused himself in pig blood, he couldn't get the anaconda to try and eat him. If they get large enough, there's no doubt that they could hunt humans, but so far this doesn't seem to have happened. Green anacondas are the true masters of tropical wetland ecosystems, and they'll feed on pretty much every animal they come across at some point in their lives. Smaller anacondas will target fish, birds, and amphibians, but once they reach their maximum size, they'll target tapirs, capybaras, and in some very rare cases, jaguars and caiman. Unlike the brown bear, these snakes are not native to multiple continents, but they have proven to be able to survive further north. The green anacondas got to Florida through the pet trade, and the first confirmed sighting in the Everglades occurred in 2003. They are now considered to be an invasive species due to their effect on native animals and because they have no natural predators in the area. But if the world formed into one giant landmass, there would be no such thing as an invasive species, and only the strongest predators would survive. Other invasive species would probably also thrive, and this could be very good news for the green anacondas. Feral pigs and boar are some of the worst invasive species in the world today, and it's also likely that they do very well in a new Pangea. Wild boar and pigs are perfect prey for the green anacondas, and they'd also dispatch other wetland creatures from non-native ecosystems. Of course, it wouldn't all be plain sailing for these giant snakes, as they'd run into problems in the form of giant crocodiles and big cats. Fully grown green anacondas are mostly safe from all predators, but younger specimens would be a target for quite a few animals. In their native ecosystem, they're often picked off by jaguars and caiman, so they'd run into the same problems with tigers and Nile crocodiles. For this reason, and because they wouldn't be able to survive in colder regions, they wouldn't be capable of world domination, but they definitely thrive in the warm tropical wetlands of a new supercontinent. The northern pike is one of the most iconic freshwater fish in the world, and it's found over a giant area of the northern hemisphere. They are master ambush hunters, and they thrive in waters with an abundance of cover and aquatic vegetation. Pike spend most of their days slowly moving along rivers and lakes, but once they find potential prey, they are capable of moving at incredible speed. These fish are known for being very aggressive and somewhat optimistic, as they'll sometimes target fish of a similar size to themselves. Many pike have been found dead after failing to swallow prey that's too large for them, and this is just one example of their ambition and their if it swims it's food mentality. Some argue that not all of these attacks are predatory, as it's possible that pike are territorial and will attack any other fish that they share the water with. They are able to survive in both fresh and brackish waters, and their aggressive behaviour and hunting capabilities allow them to reach some pretty impressive sizes. The pike in Europe reach a larger size than the pike in North America, and this is possibly because they feed on larger prey fish. The largest recorded specimen was caught in Germany, and this giant weighed in at 25 kilograms. A pike of this size will target almost all of the fish in its ecosystem, but they don't only limit themselves to aquatic prey. They'll feed on waterfowl and small mammals that enter the water, and this helps them to survive in times where their usual prey is scarce. Because they are found over such a large area, they come into contact with a large number of potential predators and threats, but they always seem to find a way to survive and thrive. Thankfully for the smaller fish of the world, the pike is not capable of world domination, and this is mostly due to the fact that it's a cold water fish. They struggle in waters over 18 degrees Celsius, and this means they'd only be able to dominate the colder freshwater habitats of the new supercontinent. They could run into a few species that could prove to be more than a match, such as the Wels catfish, but they already inhabit some of the same ecosystems today in parts of Europe and Asia. Other fish and reptiles that could prove to be a threat to the pike are usually found in warmer waters, so it's likely that they'd never actually meet. The northern pike is an obvious inclusion on this list as it's already a top predator in so many freshwater ecosystems today, and it would be one of the top predators in the cold waters of a new Pangea. The spotted hyena is another extremely misunderstood creature, as they are more formidable than most people think. They are often portrayed in popular media as sneaky, cowardly scavengers, but on average they hunt more than lions do. It's true that they have quite a few enemies on the African continent, with leopards and lions often coming to blows with these boisterous creatures. They compete with lions and even thrive alongside them, and this is despite the fact that they are a lot smaller than them. They are more intelligent than you might think, and use bravery and wits to outsmart more powerful predators and prey. In some cases, when a large group of spotted hyenas encounter a lone lion, they can take them down, and they do this by taking it in turns to attack, and a new hyena will dive in and bite the lion when another hyena is in serious trouble. They are known to have incredible stamina, so they can often wear down and outlast their enemies, and this persistent behaviour and intelligence is one of the main reasons why I believe that they'd be able to survive in a newly formed supercontinent. Even though they rarely attack them in the wild, they are capable of hunting African buffalo, so they'd be able to target most large herbivores from other continents. When they make a kill, they take full advantage of the opportunity to consume all available nutrients, as they'll eat almost anything, including bones, hooves, and even teeth. This means that they would be able to survive in areas where prey is relatively scarce, and they can easily take advantage of the scraps of food that other predators leave behind. Even though the spotted hyena is only found in Africa today, it once had a subspecies that ranged from Western Europe to Eastern Asia. It's believed that they went extinct around 11,000 years ago, just after the end of the Pleistocene, but the fact that they existed proves that they can survive in other climates, and that they can prey on animals outside of the African continent. They would be most dominant in the open grasslands of a new supercontinent, and because they form large social groups, few predators would challenge them. This is why I believe that the spotted hyena would be one of the most successful species, and it's possible that they'd have a long list of new predators to terrorize. The saltwater crocodile is the largest reptile alive today, and it haunts the nightmares of many of us around the globe. They are mostly found in the brackish waters of Southeast Asia and Australia, and in these ecosystems they feed on pretty much anything they come across. They inhabit the same waters as other top predators such as bull sharks, but even these formidable fish fall victim to their powerful jaws. They are capable of going months without food, and they can reach lengths of over 6 meters, and once they are fully grown, only man or starvation can end their lives. The only reason they haven't taken over more coastal waterways is because there are a few large oceans in the way, so it's possible that they could become the most dominant crocodilian when the gaps between the continents vanish. They could easily outcompete most other crocodilians around the world, but this doesn't mean that the other species would disappear. The saltwater crocodile is mostly found in brackish waters near river mouths, and they rarely travel far up rivers. This means that other crocodilians that live further inland could still thrive, and across their native range they sometimes coexist with smaller freshwater crocodiles. Their main rival would come in the form of the Nile crocodile that is arguably more aggressive, but they are more of a freshwater species that occasionally dwells in brackish and salt waters. Of course, being cold-blooded limits them to the warmer parts of the world, but it's possible that they would benefit from having new prey to target. Just like the green anacondas, they would benefit from having new dominant prey animals in their ecosystem such as hogs and boar, and even though these animals are currently in their ecosystem today, they would likely increase in number. They'd also be able to benefit by preying on new wetland species from other parts of the world, such as capybara and anadromous sturgeon. It's hard to even come up with reasons why these giant crocodilians wouldn't thrive, so I think it's safe to say that a whole new group of animals would have a good reason not to enter the water. Of course, there are so many more animals that I could have included in this video, so if you like this video idea then let me know, as I can easily make a part 2 or 3. So let me know if you have any suggestions for more animals down below, but for now thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.